Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a Boeing 737 pilot and a member of PMDG's tech team. My last video on the different airline options simulated by PMDG has been really well received, but I did notice that it was quite a bit long for many of you, so I decided to make two short videos where I'm going to show you what a modern 737 might look like and what an older 737 NG might look like. So let's go right into it. We'll find the airline options under PMDG options and aircraft, equipment. So, going for a modern 737, it would definitely have the Collins MCP. Usually they go heading select after takeoff. Glide slope capture is usually denied. Autoland can really be both fail passive or fail operational. That really comes down to the airline in question. Most had operated the aircraft as fail passive until the 737 NG was no longer built. Engine double D rates usually installed. Now the data link features are really company specific, so I'm going to skip over them. For the EGPWS, basically everything is enabled on the page over here. V1 callouts, bank angle callouts. Now the approaching minimums and minimums calls come down to airline specification again, just as the radio altimeter callouts. What however most of these have is a smart call of either the 1000 or the 500 foot gates. Going on from here, airspeed low oral, they definitely have them nowadays. The terrain peaks mode is usually installed as well, and the water and sign opt really comes down to the airlines, so most of them don't have it though. ETOPS equipment, well, comes down to the airline, but even though many airlines don't have their aircraft ETOPS certified, they still order the dual battery package, and the cargo fire system really comes down to the airline once again, with most of them not having them. Now, FMS settings really airline specific, there is not a lot to check in about. Maximum number of fixed pages really comes down to the airline once again, so it could be both 2 or 6. We'll go with 6 over here. Descent underspeed margin, most airlines I'm aware of have 15 knots in here. That includes both old and new 737s. Auxiliary fuel system is BBJ only. Standby instruments, the vast majority have the ISFD with the analog RMI. Head-up guidance system, now many of you will say, but that's modern, isn't it? And the answer is, not really, at least not in terms of the 737 NG's lifespan. So, the vast majority of airlines and the vast majority of 737 NGs delivered right before the production stopped didn't have a head-up guidance system, so we'll leave it off here. Yaw damper gauge, that's been removed from many modern 737s, otherwise it would have been up here. So we will not see this one over here. Performance improvement package, most definitely. Short field package, I tend to say most of them had it. Just like the Auto Probe Heat, and for the brake package, the majority of them are using carbon brakes. For the external light package, it's definitely going to be LED controlled, so you'll only have 2 landing light switches up here, rather than 4 on the older aircraft. Eyebrow windows, nope, they have not been offered anymore by Boeing for a long while. Cabin layout again is airline specific, just as the air stairs. Most of them don't have it. And the fuel cutout switch style is definitely going to be the new one. Moving on, Wi-Fi antenna. Yes, most airlines actually tend to have one. Which one you choose really comes down to the airline once again. And auto ignition is actually a feature that is not included in the majority of new 737 NGs. However, some airlines like Norwegian did use it, so we can put it on if we like to. Going from here to the display settings. They are all in the PFD ND type, the new 737s. Only some of the first were delivered with the EFIS map style. Flight director, again, airline specific, so is the ground speed display and all the airspeed bugs over here. Basically, going over the displays, the vast majority of modern 737s are totally different from one another. What they do usually have is the landing altitude bar, the 2500 feet alert, and the low airspeed alert, landing flap scale and flight path vector. Again, depend on the airline. Going over to the NDs, that really is airline specific again. There is nothing that's really indicative of a modern day 737 or an old day 737 NG. So Most of them don't have the VOR course lines, so we'll turn those off, and the rest of it we can just leave as it is over here. Note the vertical situation display is something that's been added to newer 737s. Not all airlines are ordering it, even on new aircraft, but the majority does, so I would put the vertical situation display on. Going on, over here, that's really airline specific once again. On the engine display, the side-by-side display is usually not installed in modern 737s. And the rest of it, low oil quantity inverse and high vibration alert, yes, they are definitely part of the new aircraft. Engine page really is airline specific again, so nothing specific to say over here if you want to have it or not. And going on to the fuels and controls, fuel total display, yes, that is usually in all modern 737s. Weight units, of course, will depend once again if you are flying an American or an operator from the rest of the world. And the flight control and brake temperature indicator, they are really not indicative of modern or old style 737s. So some airlines had it, many of them don't, so that really comes down to your personal preference once again. And that's basically it. There we have it, a modern days Boeing 737. Now, what's missing, of course, is the multi-mode receiver, so that would replace the VOR receivers here with a type inversion of the display. That is going to be added in future versions of the PMDG 737, so whenever that becomes available, make sure to add it to your new 737s as well. That basically concludes the new aircraft. This is what they look like. There are a couple features like the auto probe heat, auto start switches, the new start levers and the lights that really stand out here on the new 737s that make them different from the old ones. Hope you found this one interesting, and I hope that it's not been too long for you guys to follow along. So thank you very much for listening in, and I'm looking forward to see you all on the next one.